South Africa, Nigeria. Rivalry spills out into ride-sharing chaos. The latest incident of South Africa-Nigeria animosity involved the citizens of both countries ordering Bolt rides in each other's cities and then cancelling them, causing havoc. Bolt in Nigeria swiftly took action after the pranks escalated on Thursday. The ride-hailing service Bolt says it has restricted inter-country ride requests after a spat involving South Africans and Nigerians, in which both countries' citizens resorted to making fake ride requests in each other's country. Yahya Mohammed, Bolt Nigeria's country manager, said in a statement that the company swiftly addressed the issue by implementing enhanced security measures. Those responsible for this malicious activity have been identified and are held accountable by blocking them from the Bolt app, Mohammed said in the statement. We understand the impact this situation has had on our driver partners in Nigeria and South Africa. We are committed to ensuring a safe, reliable and secure experience for all members of our community. The trouble started after some South Africans posted on the social media site X about how they had been ordering Bolt rides in Nigeria from South Africa, and then cancelling the request when the driver got to the agreed location in Nigeria. Hours later, Nigerians retaliated by flooding the Bolt app by requesting rides in South Africa and then cancelling them. South Africans are cruel with the Bolt thing they started, but you know who is also cruel? The Nigerians retaliating, because you know who is suffering at the end of the day. Innocent people trying to feed their families, an ex-user, at I_am_Visa, posted. Tempers flared in July when South Africans and Nigerians griped at each other on social media regarding a controversy over the citizenship of Chidimma Adetshina, a 23-year-old South African model born to a Nigerian father and a South African mother with Mozambican ancestry. Some South Africans questioned the nationality of Adetshina, who was contesting in the Miss South Africa beauty pageant. This triggered an investigation by the country's Home Affairs Department, which discovered that Adetshina's mother had committed identity fraud to obtain South African citizenship. Adetshina quit the South African beauty contest but was later invited to participate in a Miss Universe pageant in Nigeria, an invitation she accepted. Two of Africa's largest economies, South Africa and Nigeria, have maintained a long history of mostly bitter feuds, since the end of apartheid and the advent of democracy in the former. Nigerians living in South Africa have been victims of the frequent xenophobic attacks in the country, with more than 116 citizens of the West African nation murdered on South African soil between February 2015 and February 2017, according to the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. Some Nigerians retaliated by attacking South African businesses in their country, such as the telecommunications giant Mountain, MultiChoice, Standard Bank and retailer Pick n Pay are some of the other South African companies with a sizable presence in Nigeria. The attacks often snowball into diplomatic rows, the latest being in 2017 when Nigeria recalled the High Commissioner in South Africa, Kabir Ubala. The rivalry also extends to music and sports. Earlier this year at the Grammy Awards, South African pop star Tula was announced as the inaugural winner of the Best African Music Performance over 4 Nigerian singers, causing upset. At the Africa Cup of Nations (AFCON) in Côte d'Ivoire, the two countries met in the semi-final in February. That also generated an avalanche of taunts and clapbacks from their citizens on social media. Last year, the presidents of the two countries, Cyril Ramaphosa and Bola Tinubu, met on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York, promising constructive political and business collaboration moving forward. The Bolt feud caused frustration among several professional drivers in the two countries when they received ride requests without knowing it was fake. I got a request this morning, just like every other request, but when I got to the location, the person was not there. Ocho Uber, a Bolt driver in Lagos, tells the Africa Report. I suspected there was something fishy because the rider said Festac Town and when I got there, he said Lekki. There is nowhere called Lekki in Festac Town. Kingsley Ekwedike, a Bolt driver in Abuja, says he had cancelled over 5 ride requests before he realized what was happening. It was annoying because your driver's score will drop once they cancel, which can lead to blocking from the app, Ekwedike tells the Africa Report. One even told me he was in my testicles when I asked where he was. Nigerians living in South Africa have condemned the recent ordering and cancelling of Bolt rides as Nigeria and South Africa engage in yet another battle of supremacy. Those who spoke to Saturday Punch from their locations in Pretoria and Johannesburg described the incident as energy channeled in the wrong direction while calling on the two countries to shun the long-standing, unhealthy rivalry. The enduring battle for supremacy between Nigerians and South Africans took a new turn on Thursday, as they sought dominance over each other on the ride-hailing service, Bolt. Nationals of the two countries renewed the rivalry by engaging in fake ordering of Bolt rides in South Africa and Nigeria. South Africans initiated this by ordering Bolt rides in Nigeria and cancelling as soon as the drivers arrived at pickup locations. Irked by the act, Nigerians retaliated by ordering Bolt and Uber rides in popular South African cities like Johannesburg and Cape Town, only to cancel once the drivers reached the inputted location. This resulted in about 40 drivers appearing in a particular location at the same time. This development reportedly frustrated both Bolt and Uber drivers, who temporarily shut down their apps and returned home. Consequently, passengers were forced to trek long distances under unfavorable weather conditions to their destinations. This unhealthy rivalry, Saturday Punch gathered, has led to Bolt suspending several accounts and preventing inter-country ride requests. Reacting to the incident, the president of the Nigerian Union in South Africa, Mrs. Doris Akerisolaran, said the two nations are wasting resources over a destructive rivalry. He said, Nigerians and South Africans must find common ground, sheathe their swords, and collaborate. We can achieve a lot in synergy rather than unhealthy competition. These two nations are capable of leading the African continent. Similarly, a Nigerian living in Johannesburg, Sammy Oladejo, described the situation as unreasonable, unfair, and unjust, noting that it took a toll on innocent nationals of both countries who were trying to make ends meet. Bolt drivers are now wasting their time and fuel on issues that have nothing to do with them but impacting them adversely, Oladejo added. He cautioned those involved to resolve the matter amicably, as it could snowball into dangerous crises, especially in South Africa. Nigerians using these services in South Africa might have to be cautious to avoid becoming victims of retaliation if the drivers decide to take matters into their own hands, Oladejo warned. Online taxi firm Bolt has restricted inter-country requests between Nigeria and South Africa after the two countries' social media rivalry reached an all-time high, or low, with people booking and then cancelling rides in the other nation as a prank. The drivers were pawns in this malicious game as they were sent on a wild goose chase to find passengers who weren't even in the same country. Munyaradzi Chinyama, a Zimbabwean Bolt driver based in Cape Town, told the BBC he received 3 ride requests before he realized they were not genuine. He said he wasted a lot of fuel, time and money. Bolt told the BBC it had identified and blocked users participating in this cruel game. We understand the impact this situation has had on our driver partners in Nigeria and South Africa, it said in a statement. It said inter-country requests would still work between other countries. Mr. Chinyama told the BBC he had been inundated with insulting messages through the Bolt messaging feature that connects drivers with passengers. He said he was called various names, including Mandela's son. It is unclear how this Bolt war started, but social media users in sub-Saharan Africa's 2 biggest economies have a long history of trolling each other. When I'm bored, I request in Nigeria, their brothers are disrespecting us, one user said on X on Tuesday. This seems to have set off the chain of events and Nigerians swiftly retaliated. A disgruntled Nigerian driver based in Kano told the BBC he received an order for an airport trip from an international number but the person didn't show up. I tried calling and calling but they didn't answer. Then they cancelled the trip, he said. He said he wasn't the only victim. Many of his colleagues faced similar issues. Some social media users rallied behind the drivers, saying they were just trying to make a living. Uber and Bolt drivers are just trying to make ends meet. They aren't on Twitter trolling anyone. They are trying to earn an honest living. Please leave them alone. And I'm talking to both sides, one ex-user wrote. A second person said, the Bolt challenge is paining me because it's innocent and hard-working people on both sides that are suffering for the wickedness and thoughtlessness of other people. Unfair. In Nigeria, fuel prices have rocketed in recent months. Many drivers would have wasted scarce fuel picking up non-existent customers.